Namaste.
I'm Neerja Apte,
Yeah.
and on behalf of Samanvay,
Yeah.
I welcome you all. Today we are talking to a multi-talented, very well-known personality in the field of Hindustani classical music. We welcome Dr. Nagaraj Rao Havaldar. Welcome, sir. Namaste.
Namaste.
A musicologist, author, professor, a performer, researcher, composer, and a torchbearer of Kirana Gharana Gaiki.
Thank you.
I again welcome you on Samanvay's platform. Let's start with the rich tradition of Kirana Gharana.
Yeah.
Can you give our viewers some background about the same?
Kirana Gharana was propagated by Ustad Abdul Karim Khan Sahab, more so in Karnataka, basically, to begin with. His disciples were Pandit Savai Gandharva, who in turn trained Gangubai Hangal, Bhimsen Joshi, Feroz Dastur, Venkatrao Ramdurg, and so many. And there was one more person who was trained by Abdul Karim Khan Sahab, that was Ganapat Rao Gurau. And his son Sangameshwar Gurau was also in Dharwad. So these are the Kirana Gharana musicians who are directly coming from the Khan Sahab's tradition. Then Ustad Abdul Wahid Khan Sahab taught Pandit Panchakshar Gawai, who established a school in Gadag. So there you get a fleet of musicians coming from Gadag. Pandit Basaraj Rajguru, Nakod, Arjun Sa Nakod, Raj Gawai. So many musicians, they all belong to Kirana tradition. The next generation goes to R.N. Joshi, Anand Terdad, and my Guru Madhav Gudi, and the Guru Bhai, Pandit Vinayak Torvi. So this is a short list of Kirana Gharana. And of course, you have Suresh Babu Mane, who was based out of Pune. He in turn trained Prabhat Reji and Niyaz Ahmad Khan, Fayaz Ahmad Khan in Mumbai. They are also the torchbearers of Kirana Gharana. Yeah.
Yes. Ji. Such a rich tradition of Kirana Gharana.
Yeah.
You have learned, as I know about you, that you have learned in Guru Shishya Parampara, most probably.
Yes.
And what is your take on our age-old Guru Shishya Parampara?
To get the true nuances and the values of our Indian traditional classical music, Gurukula is the only way. There is no shortcut. As it is well said, there is no shortcut for success. Here too, if you want to inherit the true legacy of a Gaiki, of a particular tradition, you need to learn in a Gurukula system. Because given our present day academic situation, maybe you need to go back by 20, 30 years or even beyond. There are very many books available on classical music, including the Bhatkande's compilation of Faiz Baniya's 1836 compositions, bandishas with notation, with rag, wadi, samadhi, vagara, vagara. If you brought those books home and studied them a million times, you won't be able to sing even one composition. So the best and the only way is to learn from a true guru, because apart from knowing the Aroh and Avroh and Vadi and Samvadi, each guru has unearthed his own truth of exploring a raga. So therefore, he will not just give the outer peripheral of the raga, he will also give you a vision about the Gaiki, a vision about the raga, a vision about the tradition. Therefore, Gurukula system is the only way.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
And now please tell us about your great gurus and their specific qualities as a guru, as a performer.
Well, I grew up in a place called Hospet in Bellary district in Karnataka, which is very close to Hampi, the internationally renowned National Heritage Center, World Heritage Center. Incidentally, during my childhood, of course, my parents, both of them used to sing. My father used to sing, my mother used to sing. but they were not trained musicians. They would sing the traditional music. My father Ramarao used to sing the Kannada devotional songs, and so did my mother. So I was inspired by them to take to music. I would just imitate them. That's
Okay.
part one. Then there was a very famous Kannada movie by name Sandhya Raga, which came in probably in 1960, mid 1960s. So in which the hero is a classical musician. The whole theme is about a musician. And for that, the playback singing was done by Pandit Bhimsen Joshi.
Oh, wow.
And as you know, Panditji hails from Karnataka, settled in Pune.
Yes, absolutely.
So he's a cultural ambassador between two states.
Yes.
So Panditji has sung beautiful songs in that movie. And there was one particular song in that movie which was based on Rag Puriya Kalyan. I know all the details now, but not as a child I would know all of them. So I was impressed and attracted by that song, and I decided if I have to sing, I have to sing like this. That song comes like this. ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ನಾದ ದೇವತೆ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ನಾದ ದೇವತೆ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಅಭಿಮಾನ ತಳೆದ ತಾಯೇ ಭಾರತೀಯೇ, ಅಭಿಮಾನ ತಳೆದ ತಾಯೇ ಭಾರತೀಯೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ನಾದ ದೇವತೆ. So, as a child of probably 6 or 7 years, this song left an indelible impact on my heart and soul. So I made up my mind, if I have to sing, I have to sing like this. Maybe learn in this tradition. But incidentally, in my hometown, Hospet, we did not have a proper guru nor the infrastructure to learn Hindustani classical music. But I did grow up singing. I used to sing all these film songs. I joined a local orchestra band kind of a thing, which was situated in Hospet. Probably, I have attended more than 400 to 500 marriages than a Purohit would do in his whole lifetime, singing for marriage receptions.
Oh.
Yeah, but those days, the quality of film music was pretty much oriented on classical music, right from Sandhya Raga to many, many more. So I kept on singing. After completing my degree from Vijayanagar College, Hospet, I went to Dharwad for my post-graduation. And Dharwad is the seat of music. So I completed 1 year of my master's degree. I was in the second year of my master's degree. Then I realized that there was a course called Sangeeta Ratna, a 6-year course, which was open for somebody like me who had not learned music academically as a part of the regular curriculum, but still was passionate and able to sing. So Mallikarjun Mansoor was the head of the department. So he took the interview. I was selected amongst 32 students. I was the only one to be selected.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And the Vice Chancellor was very angry, in the sense unhappy with the selection panel, including Mansoorji. He said, "Sir, we cannot run the department for the sake of one student, though they had parallelly music course. But for Sangeet Ratna, I was the only one selected." And Mansoorji said, "देखिए, अगर आपको department चलाना है तो चलाइए. Just because you want more number of students, I cannot take anybody and everybody." So then the Vice Chancellor said, "ऐसा मत बोलिए पंडित जी, आप बैठिए. Okay, we'll have the course anyway." That was a 6-year course. From the second year onward, they would have some more students, and that's how they rationalized the whole thing. So Mallikarjun Mansoorji selected me, Mansoorji, Pandit Basavaraj Rajguru, Pandit Sangameshwar Guru, Gangubai Hangal, V.R. Athawale, Pandit K.G. Ginde, P.N. Barve. You name the list of all these veterans, they would come. They were the visiting professors, and Pandit Panchakshari Mattigatti was the director of Mansoor. So they were all my teachers in the university. And I was the only most pampered student for the next 6 years. Incidentally, I got a gold medal in history and archaeology for my postgraduate degree, which got me a UGC fellowship to do the research. So 4 years of research, and I was given double promotion in Sangeet Ratna course because I sang very well. So then 4 more years of Sangeet Ratna put together. That was the academic learning, but with all these star words. And in fact, they were all very keen and very passionate. They were not like the usual university teachers. One day in the morning, Pandit Mallikarjun Mansoorji took my class at 8:30. He started Rag Shri, which is a very complex and beautiful rag.
Absolutely.
And my voice did not cooperate. I was unable to reproduce the phrases that all this he was coming up with. He was frustrated. अरे आप जैसे लोग क्यों आते हैं? You better go and do your PhD, man. You remember I fought for your sake with the Vice Chancellor, and this is what we're doing here now. Could you not practice? Could you not come warmed up to receive what I'm teaching you? I told Guruji, देखिए मैं hostel में रहता हूँ.
जी.
I don't have a tanpura there, nor I have the facility to practice. I am just a research scholar. Then he realized, okay, ठीक है. So as a come, of course, he told me all this in Kannada. Both of us would speak in Kannada. I said, ठीक है, that's okay. Then I'll give you the keys for one of the rooms in the music department, and I'll keep a tanpura there. Tomorrow morning onwards, 7:30 in the morning, you should come and start practice. Start your mantra sadhana, be ready. I will come at 8:30. You know, the classes start at 8:30, but I come at 7:30. The day I don't hear your voice at 7:30, I'll withdraw the key. So it was both a boom and a warning. So that is with Pandit Mallikarjun Mansoorji. Then after doing Sangeet Ratna, and also parallelly I finished my PhD, I got married in 1984. My father-in-law, Mr. Raghavendra, used to live in Kolkata. I had just gone to Kolkata along with my wife. And my father-in-law was very passionate about music. Any musician who visited from Karnataka would come and stay with him. Right from Bhimsen Ji to Mansoor Ji to Gangubai Hangal, Sangameshwar Burao, Bindu Madhav Pathak. You name him, they have come and stayed, or at least have accepted his hospitality. I had a meal with him. So Pandit Bhimsen Ji came there. Yeah, my childhood dream comes true. So I fell at the feet of Pandit Ji. देखिए मैं आपसे सीखना चाहता हूँ. मैं अब तक तो MA PhD सब अभी थीसिस सबमिट किया हूँ. And देखिए, I have also done Sangeet Ratna. I learned from these many people. So I will give you a personal audition. आप सुनिए. जी. So I went to a friend of mine in Kolkata, Sarthi Chatterjee. उनके घर से तानपुरा लेके आया. Then Debashish Sarkar, a tabla artist from Kolkata. I brought him. So Pandit Ji sitting in front of me with a cup of tea. I am singing Rag Darbari. Wow. And you know, in Rag Darbari, Gandhar and Dhaivat are oscillating. वो अंदोलित सुर है. Since Pandit Ji was sitting in front, all the swaras were oscillating. Sarega mapada nipa sadha nipa mapada mare sa. अब तो ठीक है. But when Pandit Ji was sitting, all my swaras were oscillating. But anyway, I still sang for half an hour. विलंबित ख्याल और नहीं कि चुका मकी मैं भरोसे. I stopped after half an hour and looked up to Pandit Ji. Of course, he spoke to me in Kannada. Nagaraj, तुम घबरा रहे थे? Is that true? I said, yes, Pandit Ji, you are sitting in front of me, and what else can happen? Then he said, did it help you? By becoming nervous and conscious of anybody's presence, did it help you to perform better? I said, no, sir. Then why did you invoke those feelings in you? He said, singing is a conversation between you and the raga. It's a very intimate conversation between you and the raga that you're singing. If somebody is listening, it is just okay, fine, let them listen and enjoy. So you start conversing with the raga without being aware or conscious of anybody's presence. अब इस मनोस्थिति से, with this mental makeup, I want you to sing now. Come on, start again. Ask your wife Sudha to give you one more cup of tea. Let's have tea. Then start again. So my wife Sudha May gave me one more cup of tea. After 10 minutes of this baatcheet and chai, I started same darbari again for another half an hour.
Oh.
So I was probably reasonably better than what I was in the previous session. Panditji said, this is your true potential. So that is the first lesson he gave me.
Wonderful.
Do not be aware of what is happening you around.
Right.
Just be one with yourself and your Tanpura. That's it.
Kya baat hai.
That's the first lesson he gave me.
Ji.
So then after a few months, I went to Pune. I told him, Panditji, I have already submitted my thesis. Before my doctoral results come and I start becoming a university lecturer or so, my father-in-law says, why don't you go and learn from Panditji for a few years in the Gurukula system? He said, look, I have heard you, Nagraj, a couple of times. You have all the potential and the promise. But I'm talking of 1985. Panditji was to speak. He was very busy. Today is in Pune, tomorrow is in Mumbai, then next day is in Dubai for 4 days, next few months is in USA. Look, if you come to me now, you will end up as my Tanpura disciple, Tambora disciple. He had branded 4 types of disciples. Tanpura disciple,
Yes.
who plays Tanpura for him. Then postcard disciples. Means they will send a greeting card on Panditji's birthday. And if Panditji replied, they will claim oh, they keep Panditji reply. Postcard disciple. Then cassette disciples. Those were the days even CD were not in the vogue.
Yes.
Cassette was one major listening source. So a lot of people listen to my cassette and they just imitate me. They don't know why you're singing like that, why they're singing like that. But they still sing. They don't know what the content is. So they are imitating at a surface level. So cassette disciples. The fourth and the only category is Gandaband disciples. Who have come to me, who have stayed with me, who have spent their life and time and energy with me. And amongst them, Madhav Gudi, again from Dharwad. He is my first and foremost and the only true disciple in the sense of Gandaband disciple. So, decide. If you want to become Tanpura disciple, you can stay here. But if you want the inner secrets of my Gaiki, you go to Dharwad and learn from Madhu, he said. I said, okay, Panditji, I will go to Madhuji. So he wrote a letter. I came back to Dharwad, spoke to Madhuji. I gave him an audition. He said, ठीक है, गुरुजी का भी आशीर्वाद है तुम्हारे ऊपर, चलो हम सिखाएंगे. So that's how I started from Pandit Ji to then Madhav Gudi Ji. After learning from Madhav Gudi Ji for a few years, I went back to Pandit Ji and surrendered myself, submitted myself. I sang a few ragas to him. He said, ab theek hai. For my grand disciple, I would say, disciple's disciple, they were my grand disciple.
Right.
So that's with Pandit Bhimsen Ji and Madhav Gudi Ji. Apart from that, I have also had the privilege of learning from many more. Like Pandit Panchakshari Mattigatti, who used to teach me in the university during my Sangeet Ratna course. In 1996, I had joined All India Radio as a program executive in 1988 and worked for 3 years. Again, during that period of time, I went to Delhi for a training and Pandit Bhimsen Ji had come for a national program of music.
Oh.
Yeah. So, with all enthusiasm, I went and met him in Delhi. So, then he spoke like, "Arey, tum Delhi mein kya kar rahe ho, Nagraj?" I said, "Sir, I am here for a training." Training? Kaun sa training? Your guru is Madhav Gudi, he is in Dharwad. What training you are doing in Delhi? He said, No, I have joined All India Radio. Hey, no, you must resign this job.
Oh.
You will end up as a glorified clerk. You are destined to become a musician. I think you must take care of yourself because you can't strike the balance between administration on the one side and your riyaz and talim and presentation on the other side. So like that, he gave me another lesson there. So I left in 1991, focused on my music.
Ji.
So Pandit Matigati Guruji,
Hmm.
he came from Dharwad to Bangalore for a function, for an event. He was staying in a hotel and he called me. Hey, Nagaraj, मैं तुमसे बात करना चाहता हूँ, अभी आओ इसी वक्त. I said, Guruji must be in an urgent need for some guidance in Bangalore, some local help. So I rushed to his hotel room. He said, look, Nagaraj, I have retired from the music department. I get a handsome pension. And my son is an engineer who is working in Dubai. He makes a lot of money. So he made sure that he was not in need of money, basically.
Ji.
That was the background he was giving. So I want to give you some rare ragas and bandishes of Jaipur Gharana.
Wow. How lucky you are.
Yes. So I said, Guruji, then he asked, Kya tum sikhoge? If I had said no, I would have been a fool.
Ji.
I said, okay, Guruji, I'll be blessed to learn from you. So, theek hai. Now, every month, a week or 10 days, I'll come from Dharwad and stay in your house and teach you. What else I can ask for?
Really?
ये प्रक्रिया शुरू हो गई.
Wow, wow, wow.
Every month he would come. Every month he would come. He would teach me one raga in the morning and one raga in the afternoon. And he would also allow me to record the whole session, the audio recording,
Oh, okay.
so that I could relive the whole class. I could listen to it again and again. जिसको हम श्रवण विद्या बोलते हैं.
Ji.
The more you listen, the faster you learn.
Absolutely.
So he would allow me to record that. So he started this prakriya for about 6 years.
Oh.
Yeah, the first 9 months, what I did was whenever Guruji came, I learned. Then at the end of his stay, I would organize just baitak in my house or in my disciples' house or in some corporate houses and make a small program and hand over the honorarium to Guruji. He would take it and read. That was not a precondition from him.
Right. I understand.
As a gesture, I did that. In the 10th month, I could not do that because how many times I can present the same artist in the same town?
Yeah.
Month after month. So that month, what I did was I put some money into an envelope and gave it to Guruji when he was about to leave. He asked me, "ये क्या है?" कुछ नहीं गुरुजी, थोड़ा सा एक envelope पे आप लेके जाइए. And he called my wife, Sudhami, इधर आओ. मैं यूनिवर्सिटी से इसको देखता आ रहा हूँ कि थोड़ा व्यवहार ज्ञान इसको कम है. गाता है ठीक है, लेकिन बुद्धि और भी थोड़ा ये है. You should have prevented him from doing this. गुरुजी क्या हुआ, क्या अपराध हुआ हमसे? See, he is offering me money. If I was to teach him for the sake of money, I'll ask him to come to Dharwad. Why will I come here? So another noble soul. He has given me innumerable number of Jaipur ragas and bandishes, which I very happily sing nowadays. A small jhalak would be Nat Malhar, which is a very fine confluence of Chayanat and Miya Malhar. Sa re re ga ga ma ma pa re pa ga ma re ni ha ni sa re re ga ga ma pa ni da ni sa re ni ma pa ga ma re ga. That's what Gandhar. Sa re ga ga ma All nut ang hai. Pa miya mulha.
Myanmar.
Yeah. Lagi kero naina. So like this.
वाह.
About to
So, जी,
एक प्रकार
आपको इतने आशीर्वाद मिले हैं, इतने गुरुओं से आपने तालीम ली है,
जी
और मुझे लगता है कि आपके पास तो खजाना है इन सारी चीजों का.
सब गुरु की आशीर्वाद से है.
जी बिल्कुल. तो आपसे जब आपने कॉलेज की अपनी बात बताई कि आपको सुबह 7:30 बजे कहा जाता था कि तानपुरा दिया है, आप वहां आकर रियाज कीजिए.
जी
So I want to know कि what is the importance of riyaz in general and in your life also.
well with regard to Riyaz, we cannot fix a formula. It cannot be same to everybody.
जी.
Though it is desirable that if you're a professional musician, you spend most of your time with your tanpura. सुबह को आप मंदिर साधना करेंगे, explore the lower octave, then take a break, then hold on to few ragas. And ये सीखने का और रियाज का तरीका भी बिल्कुल अलग है. Pandit Bhimsen ji learned from Savai Gandharva for 6 years.
Yes.
And he learned only 3 ragas. Todi in the morning, Multani in the afternoon, and Puriya in the evening.
The evening, yes.
Through which he basically learned the methodology of singing. गायकी जो है उसको impart कर दिया गया है हमको. Then you start applying that to different ragas that you learn. Not that he did not teach him a 4th raga, he also taught him Kamod, he also taught him Shankara. But these were the ragas that I revisited on a daily basis. This is one. And also trying to put a formula on the riyas, on the daily riyas, is a little challenging or difficult because each individual's voice and his approach to singing is different. The what time theory we fix to other forms of learning. Like engineering, for example, is 4 years. Even if you're Einstein, they won't allow you to go to the 4th year straight away. You have to go through all the semesters and you will go to the 4th year, then pass the exam. That is the routine academic setup. In music, what happens? It's purely between you and your guru. If he thinks that you are okay for the next stage, he will elevate you there. He cannot prevent, he cannot control himself from giving you the next phrase. So you cannot fix a formula that आप तो 6 घंटे करो, 8 घंटे करो, 10 घंटे करो. There are of course stories like that. Somebody did 18 hours, somebody did 10 hours. As a professional, you are just doing that. Don't look at the clock. Don't try to defeat the clock. Again, it's a samvad between you and the raga. Every day it presents a new challenge. Every day it's a new journey. It is like Sachin Tendulkar's 100 international centuries. See, 100 century means 100 plus more. It could be 134 or 175 or 231. That would be the score sheet. But if you go into the details of every century, it won't be the same.
Right.
In a particular innings, you will have hit 20 boundaries. Depending on the quality of the bowling, quality of the pitch, and the position of his team. If it is 235 for 1 and if he's there in the middle, they will hit it all over the place and he will quickly finish the century.
Yes, yes.
If there are 8 wickets down, and if he scores 134 in that innings, it's a turning pitch or a bouncy pitch.
Yes.
He'll be very careful.
Yeah.
But conceptually, it is still called 100. So, राग भैरव का भी वही होता है. आज का भैरव कल से अलग है, and day after tomorrow it's different.
Wonderful.
तो वही होता है.
बिल्कुल.
And even coming back to Tendulkar, you have to hit the same cover drive, same straight drive, same square cut. You cannot invent a new shot for every ball. You have to repeat your skills, but
Yes.
in what circumstances you repeat them determines the quality of your music.
Yes. So beautifully you described what is riyaz.
Yeah.
So wonderful. आपने कन्नड़ म्यूजिक भी काफी आपने उस पर काम किया है, सीखा है. So I want to know कि what are the similarities or difference between Carnatic music and Uttar Hindustani classical music?
Yeah, to be more honest, I have not learned Carnatic music, but I have heard a lot of Carnatic music.
Okay.
Right from Shammangudi Srinivas Iyer to Subbalakshmi to Balamurali Krishna to R.K. Srikantan to Veena Vishweshwaran from Mysore, Doraiswamy Iyengar. So I've heard very many great Carnatic musicians.
जी.
In fact, my wife holds a degree in Carnatic music.
Oh.
Yeah. So therefore, my father-in-law used to enjoy all forms of music, Raghavendra Rao.
जी. जी.
So I have heard very many great Carnatic music concerts. Basically, both the systems originate from the same source. After some time, they got divided into two branches.
जी.
See, the hallmark of Indian culture is unity in diversity. For example, the Marathi that's spoken in Mumbai is different from Marathi that is spoken in Nashik, probably.
जी.
Still, Marathi is the same. It's the same Marathi. The Kannada that we speak in Bangalore is different from Kannada that is spoken in Mangalore,
जी.
which has an influence of Konkani and Tudu in that. We're still Kannadigas. So therefore, our country being so diverse in nature, in culture, but still being unified. So ours is the only country to boast of two highly developed, sophisticated systems of classical music. No other country in the world has two systems of music. And very politely, I can also submit that Karnataka is the only state to produce great musicians from both streams. Like Mansoor Ji, Gangubai, Bhimsen, Rajguru, Raju Taranath, Madhavgudi, Mattigatti, Kumar Gandharva, who lived in Madhya Pradesh.
Madhya Pradesh, yes.
So therefore, Carnatic music and Hindustani, the similarities being there are so many ragas which are common to both the systems. Like Rag Mohana becomes Rag Bhoop in Hindustani. Rag Malkams of Hindustani becomes Rag Hindolam in Karnataka.
Because the names are different.
Yeah, the scale is the same, but of course the approach is still different.
Yes.
Yeah.
See. Would like to know about the TV serial Swaradhare.
Swaradhare, yeah.
Yeah.
I am associated with Ajim Premji Foundation and also Ajim Premji University. We have devised a course for elective course for Hindustani music, for appreciation of Hindustani classical music. So I have a lot of rapport with the people there. They respect our dedication to archive, to record the Hindustani classical music material for the posterity, for the future. So in Swaradhare, we had around 11 episodes. I interviewed and recorded some very, very rare and wonderful musicians who have contributed so much. To speak about Pandit Indudhar Nirodiji, who lives in Mysore now. Is a disciple of Pandit K.G. Ginde, S.R. Bhatt, he learned Dinkar Kaikani. And Mr. Nirodi, Pandit Nirodiji is virtually, literally a walking encyclopedia of Hindustani classical music today. You might have noticed there are 6 volumes by Pandit Bhatkandeji.
Yes.
Wherein he has documented 1,836 bandishes. Pandit Nirodiji has single-handedly sung all of them and recorded. Single-handedly. He did not take any help from any institution, no government grant, nothing. My son Omkarnath is very fortunate to learn from him. So I did a documentary on Pandit Nirodiji in Swaradhara series.
जी.
I did a documentary on one Mr. R.V. Hegde, who lives in a place near called Sirsi, who is a Rudra Veena player. Bean, जो हम बोलते हैं.
जी.
Of late, given our own fancies, we have an association to protect a wild animal. This is going to be extinct, etc., etc. I would plead, I have to take care of Rudra Veena. Can you believe there could be only 25 to 50 Rudra Veena players in the whole country? Can you believe it?
Oh.
One of the oldest instruments.
Yes.
And I introduced Mr. Hegde. There are very, very intriguing problems in the sense you might have seen the Rudra Veena, which has two huge tumbas, two huge doors. Even to hold and sit that instrument itself is a big task.
Yes.
The playing is the next question. So he says the organizers are not very keen on inviting a Rudra Veena player because he has to dismantle the instrument into three parts. He will virtually need two cars, one for the instrument with an attendant to hold all that, then the player himself. So that multiplies the cost to the organizer. Can you believe this?
Oh.
And the makers of the instruments are on the verge of extinction. So I did a documentary on Mr. R.V. Hegde. I did a documentary on Lalit J. Rao, who was a great disciple of, she lives in Bangalore. Again, a very fine musician in her late 70s. She learned from Pandit M. Ramrao Naik in Bangalore, who was a direct disciple of Ata Hussain Khan Sahib of Gwalior, Agra. Then she also learned from Khadim Hussain Khan Sahib in Mumbai. So like that. Then I did a documentary on one Pandit Lingaraj Bua. He lived in a very small village near Kundugod, where Savai Gandharva lived. Yeah, Savai Gandharva lived in Kundugod. This man lived in a village called Yaraguppi. Lingaraj Bua and Pandit Mallikarjun Mansoor were Guru Bhais learning from Nilkant Bua Mirajkar, all the Gwalior Gaiki.
Gwalior Gaiki, yes.
So nobody knows about him. So because Lingaraj Bua's nephew is my contemporary. So through him, I explored all the material about Lingaraj Bua. Like this, we did 11 episodes for Azim Prem University. I think now they are put up on YouTube. That's Swaradhara series is available on YouTube.
Great.
I did one on Basuraj Rajguru, one on Arjun Sana Code, so like that.
That's so great. Now about your Bhagavad Gita project and Kannada Khayal style.
Yeah. Bhagavad Gita, in fact, a lot of people, the general notion is they think that Bhagavad Gita is for very, very well-read people or religious people or spiritually oriented or for an upper class, upper community, Brahmin, वगैरह ऐसा है. See, the person who taught Bhagavad Gita was not a Brahmin. Krishna was not a Brahmin. And the person who received the Bhagavad Gita was a Kshatriya. He was not a Brahmin either.
Yes.
So there is no upper class, no Brahmin involved there at all.
Right.
Part one. So as we were recording this, and of course, I am not very well trained to read or understand Sanskrit. So since this was in Kannada, the author is one Mr. N.R. Rao, who is a chartered accountant and a lawyer by profession, who lives in Bombay, but has a very, very philanthropic bent of mind, a lot of social service he does. So he was the one who wrote this in Kannada.
Oh.
Yeah. His nephew used to learn from me. So one Friday he brought a few slokas in Kannada. I said, okay, this could be sung. So I just instantly sung them, and that recording reached Mr. Rao. And then we decided, okay, then we'll do the whole project. There are around 700 slokas. Okay, that's part one. As I was talking before, nothing very spiritual or religious about Bhagavad Gita, the content. It speaks about day-to-day life, by and large. It speaks about embryo. It speaks about cosmos. Somewhere down the line, he speaks about Big Bang Theory. Then he speaks about दान. आप दान देते हैं तो किसको देते हैं और क्या देते हैं? If you are giving a T-shirt which you don't wear, that is not done. If you are parting with a thing which you love most and which you need most, then if you are willing to give it to somebody else, that is done. And whom do you give it to? Not your son or daughter. So the giver and the receiver, they are very, very important. So these kind of things are discussed there.
Okay.
Like about the yoga, even about sleep, he says in that. So don't sleep too much or don't cut down on your sleep. So right from these kind of things which are relevant to your day-to-day life have been discussed in that. That's part one. Then the music part of it. If there are 700 shlokas, I can, of course, compose tune to all the 700 shlokas, then memorize them, then walk into the studio and record them. But that will be too much of a work. Instead, we believed on our instinctive, impulsive, creative composing ability. We would discuss what chapter we are going to sing, and each chapter has around 20 to 30 to 35 shlokas, not uniformly numbered. So we studied the overall content of particular chapter. Then decided that the first 10 shlokas will come in particular raga, the next 10 in some other raga. So therefore we used around 65 ragas for 700 shlokas. That's part one. Part two, it has the progression of a khayal gaiki. So we have not used any percussion in that. So each shloka has the progression. The first shloka will be Sharaj to Gandhar. The next shloka will be Gandhar to Pancham. The following shloka will be Madhyam to Dhaivat. So it has the progression of a khayal. And it has the gait. It has the inherent rhythm of a Nom-Tom Alap that is presented in Drupad.
Wow.
So that is how the Bhagavad Gita became a reality.
Okay, that's great. आप हमको एक कोई छोटी सी झलक दे सकते हैं
Bhagavad Gita ka?
जी
I wish I could. Maybe I'll record it at the end.
Okay, fine.
Okay, just take out the book.
जी जी sure.
I'll have water, please.
Sure. आपसे बात करने के लिए 1 घंटा बहुत कम है.
हाँ जी.
इतनी सारी बातें हैं आपके पास.
Just a minute. Then coming to Kannada Khaya.
जी.
Kannada Khaya. And none of the musicological texts dictate that you must sing a khayal in a particular language. There are khayals in Brij Bhasha, Bhojpuri, Urdu, Punjabi, depending on where the musicians came from. And also, we have very few established composers. We revolve around Adarang, Sadarang, even to the extent even the pen names are copied, like Manarang, Hararang. जो भी लिखा अंत में उसको रंग जोड़ दिया.
जी.
Despite belonging to different generation, different age, different region, everything.
Yeah.
So there was a poet by name Ra Bendre, Dattatreya Ramchandra Bendre, who is a Gyanpith Award winner. He was also very fond of music. He lived in Dharwad. He was very fond of classical music. He was the chief guest when Madhugudi, my Guruji, did the Ganda Samaram with Pandit Bhimsen ji. So Dara Bendre was in close association, close contact, interaction with all the musicians. He said, "अरे आप धारवाड़ के लोग हैं, तुम पंजाबी, तुम क्या समझते हो? Yeah, you can't impart the bhav to what you're singing. You'll be singing the bandish. स्वर का जो भी है
जी
वो काम हो जाएगा, लेकिन वो शब्दों का भाव जो है you will not be able to impart it unless you know the language properly.
जी
Therefore, he said, I think we should write bandishes in Kannada. So he started writing bandishes in Kannada. So they were pretty much in vogue. In fact, I sang for them for Delhi Doordarshan archives. So that's one part, Dara Bendre. And you must have heard of all the Haridasas from Karnataka, like Namdev, Tukaram, Gyandev in Marathi, or Tulsi Das, Kabir Das. Like we have Purandar Das, Kanak Das, Jaya Das, a fleet of Haridasas. Apart from their poems, which are 4 stanzas, 5 stanzas, each stanza having 4 lines, there are some shorter compositions which are called as Uga Bhoga. In fact, you can probably recall the term Udgraha and Abhoga, which is one of the 4 parts of the bandishes. So Uga Bhoga, they're very short and they convey a very solid and beautiful, complete message. So I'll demonstrate one short composition for you. Purandar Dasa's Uga Bhoga, which says, अगर आपका मन शुद्ध नहीं है तो मंत्र पठन करने से क्या फायदा? अगर आपका तन शुद्ध नहीं है, don't take tirtha and do the puja, it's useless. Then you see all the crocodile and fish and all those jalachar prani jo hai, they are always in the water. It doesn't mean that they are taking holy bath. Because they have to be in the water to survive, that's all. They may be in the banks of Ganga or Yamuna, but doesn't mean that they are taking holy bath. Then there is a crow sitting on the tower of Mallikarjuna temple in Sri Shaila. So it doesn't mean that it has conquered Shiva, because it doesn't know where it is sitting. So therefore, जो बाहर दिखता है, it doesn't mean that it is internally also pure and noble and spiritual. So focus on your internal purification than external presentation. So this is the gist of the composition. This I have tuned in राग बैरागी भैरव झपताल में ऐसा होता है. मन शुद्धि इल्लदले मंत्र फलवेनु तनु शुद्धि इल्लदले तीर्थदा फलवेनु मन शुद्धि इल्लदले. Like this. So Kannada file, I have tried to propagate this, and even the Vachanas, the Vachanakaras who lived in the earlier than the Haridasas. Again, they convey a very, very strong message in 2 or 3 lines. In fact, there is a Vachana in Rag Bhatiyar, in which Akka Mahadevi says, Akka Mahadevi was married to King Kaushika. Like Meera was married to a king, but always thought that Krishna was her husband. Here, Akka Mahadevi thought that Lord Channamallikarjuna was her beloved. So, 12th century. So in this, despite being a queen, she says, if I am hungry, I will go and beg. Hashivadode, bhikshan nagaduntu. Trishayadode. Trisha means thirst. I will go to any river and well and drink water. I don't want any purified and filtered water. Shayanakke halu degulagaluntu. Shayana means to sleep. She says, I will go to an unattended, ruined temple. Because if you go to a well-maintained temple, there's so much of rush and crowd, and you're thrown out of the sanctum. You can't focus and even do a namaskar peacefully. So, for all her mundane needs, she says, for hunger, I'll beg. For thirst, I'll drink any water. For sleeping, I'll go anywhere. But Atma Sangatakke, for my soulmate, I only want Channa Mallikarjuna and nobody else. So, this is said to Rag Bhatiyar. Yeah. A quick. Sadha Palma Gapagare Sa Madha Sa Nire Nidha Pagani Dhamma Paga Pagare Hasiva Dode Adatinta Da 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 Di Da Da Hasiva Dode Vikshanagaluntu Sushya Dode Tere Bavigaluntu Hasiva Dode ಭಿಕ್ಷಾನಗಳುಂಟು ಶಯನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಡು ದೇಗುಲಗಳುಂಟು ಆತ್ಮಸಂಗಾತಕ್ಕೆ 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 ಚನ್ನ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ ಗುಂಟು ಹಸಿವಾ ದೊಡೆ ಸದಾಪಮ ಲಪ ಪಗರೆ झलक प्राणा है।
वाह वाह वाह, बहुत सुंदर। और राग भटियार तो सुबह का राग माना जाता है। हाँ। और ये सुनते हुए ऐसा लगा कि वाकई बहुत सुंदर सी सुबह का अनुभव हो रहा है। और मुझे लगता है कि ये हमारे शास्त्रीय संगीत की विशेषता है, खासियत है। और इसको सुनकर आप बहुत आनंद और शांति महसूस करते हैं। अलग अलग समय पर अलग अलग राग की जो रचना की गई है उस तरह से। तो हाउ वुड यू डिस्क्राइब म्यूजिक एज अ थेरेपी?
Well, I have been a student of history and archaeology for my post-graduation, and also my PhD is on history of music. I combined history and music together, the art history and music together, and did a PhD. So in history we have a very famous proverb. They say the wars begin in the minds of men. The wars begin in the minds of men. So it's not gender specific, it may start in the minds of women also. So that statement basically says any turmoil or any action that basically starts in the mind first. Then you start acting accordingly. Like we don't go to the airport and then decide where to go and then buy a ticket, then board the flight. No. You sit at home 6 months in advance to decide which day you want to go, which flight you want to catch, whether there is any layover in between, there's a direct flight. All those details you study first. Everything happens in the mind first. Then you actually either go to the travel agent or sit in front of a computer, then start the travel. Then you will also have decided what you will do when you have gone to some other place.
Right.
So just to give a mundane example. So basically, if you can keep your mind in check, if you can address your mind, you can control the body. That's one thing. And if there is one great art form, one tool which can really keep your mind occupied, as you were saying a few minutes ago that you could feel the morning effect just because I sang a bit of Bhatiyar. So like that. So music can keep you absolutely, totally occupied in a very, very positive way. So that is one part. Then secondly, like any other medication, azithromycin or crocin or brufen, किसी को एंटीबायोटिक की जरूरत है तो azithromycin दे दीजिए, किसी को बुखार आ गया, etc. So you cannot write a raga for some particular ailment. You cannot prescribe Rag Durga for headache, and then Rag Bhupali for knee pain. ऐसा आप नहीं कर सकते. Music is a therapy. आपका सुनने का जो आदत है, your listening संस्कार जो बोलते हैं, your listening experience and pedigree, that probably will help you to get over so many psychosomatic disorders which manifest in bodily disorders. There is a famous institution called NIMHANS in Bangalore, National Institute for Mental Health and Neurological Sciences. So they, in collaboration with me, we have done one audio CD of 8 ragas. Each raga sung for about 8 to 10 minutes. We have partially sacrificed our expertise in Tankari, Tayari on the one side, just to suit the needs of those mentally challenged people in the NIMHANS. We have done ragas, and they have been played for those patients, and they have found wonderful results. That is the immediate official collaboration with the music therapy and the NIMHANS and a trained musician. That's on the one side. Then there are few places where the statistics may not really speak the truth. I had gone to Lord's cricket ground in London. So they have enlisted all the great people, great batsmen who have scored a century at Lord's. Can you believe whose name is missing there? The prominent name that could be missing there. Can you guess? Tendulkar.
About to say that.
So Tendulkar has not scored a century at Lord's. Does it make him a lesser batsman? No. And also they have enlisted the bowlers. I have nothing against Lord's. No, I like that ground, that apart. I'm just giving you an example. They have enlisted the great bowlers who have taken more than 5 wickets in an innings at Lord's. 2 prominent names that are missing are Shane Warne and Anil Kumble.
Oh.
They have the second best wicket takers in the world history after Muttiah Muralidharan.
Yes.
The simple truth is, it's not a spinner friendly pitch, that's all. So like that. So why I'm giving that analogy is, if anybody to establish music as a science and as a therapeutical tool, they want statistics. How many cases you have studied, how many you have cured, how much you have spent, etc., etc. Taking the example of another branch of knowledge, in judiciary they say, for lack of evidence, even if 100 criminals go unpunished, it's okay. But with some false evidences, let's not punish one innocent, they say. They care so much for one life. So therefore, if music can cure 10, 50, 100, so be it. See, I come from a lower middle class economic background. God has been kind, I'm doing well now. If music could give me the courage to resign a class 1 post of central government, take to music. Imagine the power of music.
Wow.
My Param Guru Bhimsen ji left the house at the age of 11. Everybody knows the truth. You see, there are so many people who have left the house, but not everybody has ended as a Bharata Ratna. That's the power of music.
Yes. Very true.
And how many souls he has given solace in human.
Absolutely correct. You have written many books and your articles have been published in different journals, newspapers. So can you share your journey as an author?
Yeah. My focus while writing is more on the human side of the musician than just the grammar and the tankari and laikari of a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Normally what happens is the common man either knows the glorious side of a musician or the flip side of a musician. They know that you are Bharat Ratna, Padma Bhushan, vagara, vagara, etc., etc. They look at your glittering kurta or silk saree worn by Gangubai ji or Kishori Tai. Or, oh, I saw him, he was just swinging and coming like this, vagara, vagara. He was not in the mood, aisa ho gaya, vaisa ho gaya, falana. I heard so many things about him. So either this. In between, they forget that he is as human as anybody else. Off the stage, once you're off the stage and you're not between two tanpuras, you are as normal as anybody else.
Yes.
You have all the mundane needs like any other human being. So this is what I have focused on in my column writing. I used to write a column. I've written about 150 articles. Different artists. So I have tried to focus on the human side of it, through which I treasure and propagate the value of music, why anybody should learn music, how and why that particular anecdote is so important for anybody. That's the focus on anecdotes. Then my book on Pandit Bhimsen Joshi,
yes,
that's what you are referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was yeah. पूछिए.
जी नहीं, यही पूछने वाली थी कि आपकी जो लेटेस्ट बुक है which is on Bharat Ratna Pandit Bhimsen Joshi.
Yeah.
Just about to ask that.
Yeah, Bhimsen ji did not become more popular by people reading my book. No, he's already an universal factor. Yeah, उनका गाना तो जब तक चांद सूरज रहेंगे तब तक रहेगा. Even if people don't read my book, they will enjoy his music. But again, I have documented the human side of a great man who never thought of hurting others. He would go miles to sacrifice his own self to give a happiness to others. Because I had the fortune of meeting most of his contemporaries, his family members in Karnataka, and Madhav Budi, his disciple, who lived with Bhimsen ji for 28 years.
Yes.
So I could get a lot of insight into his personal life, how it reflected on his music, how it did not bother his music. In US, when Panditji was traveling, Bhimsen was traveling, they loaded his suitcase on the top of the car. Vatsala Tai was also with him. Bhimsen's wife also had gone with him. So they had loaded all the suitcases on the top and they went from Chicago to another place for 90 miles. It was a windy season and they go and get off in the town, Madison, I think it was Madison or Milwaukee, something like that. So then they see Panditji's suitcase is missing, which was there on the top, it had gone away. So they came and told Panditji, Panditji, falana aisa ho gaya. Without taking an extra minute, he said, ठीक है चलो, मैं तो कुर्ता पाजामा पहना हूँ, जाऊंगा, हो गया, गाना हो जाएगा, चलो. Though Vatsala Tai was a little unhappy that she lost her valuable silk sarees, etc. He consoled her and he said, गाना पहला काम है, सूटकेस बाद में देखा जाएगा. This is one. Then one more anecdote to prove his sincerity and commitment. Pandit ji gave a concert in Kerala,
Hmm.
maybe 40, 50 years ago.
Hmm.
So one of the Rasikas, one of the listeners,
Yeah.
he requested that Pandit ji aap Rag Jog gaiye. By the time he already had Padma Shri and he was very, very well known. He could have easily given a very evasive answer. आज हमारा मूड नहीं है, हम दरबारी गाएंगे, कुछ भी गाएंगे.
जी, जी.
He did not say that.
Hmm.
He made an announcement in the mic. देखिए, राग जोग की तालीम हमको ठीक से नहीं मिली है.
Oh.
Yeah. To the extent that I would feel happy myself rendering it to you. So I will not present a hodgepodge joke for you. In turn, I'll come prepared to sing that rag next time.
Oh.
And he said, it doesn't mean that you have to invite me next year. No, that's not the indication. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not putting an application for the next year also. No. If and when I come here next time, I'll come prepared and give a presentation of joke, which satisfies me first, in turn makes you happy. So he made a public announcement. And he sang Mother Rag and everybody was extremely happy. That was the end of that concert. And incidentally, he was invited for the same concert again. Next year. For the same festival. So this time, he voluntarily makes an announcement himself, even before somebody asked him. Last year, कोई महाशय हमसे राग जोग पूछ रहे थे. I am not sure whether he is here today or not, but I had made a promise that I'll come prepared to sing राग जोग. मैं पूरा सीख के तालीम लेके आया हूँ. मैं आज गाऊंगा राग जोग, आप सुनिए.
Great.
So these are the kind of truths I have documented in that book.
Wonderful.
So that will be a great learning experience for anybody.
Yes.
He can inspire a software engineer, he can inspire a musician, he can inspire a cricketer because he will practice for 18 hours a day.
Right.
He can inspire anybody. His life can inspire anybody.
Very well said. Very well said. Really. You have toured extensively all over the world as a professor, as a performer, and there are so many things you are doing, you have done. So would like to know about experience as you have visited USA 18 times and UK 6 times. So that's a great thing for me or to even listeners. So please share your experience about these trips or these tours.
Well, my tours abroad have been a great learning experience for me also. Every concert or meeting every organizer or every recipe is a learning experience for a musician if you have an open eye and ear for that. You can learn so much from anybody and everybody. That part. So what I have noticed with regard to our NRIs, the non-resident Indians who live abroad for whatever reason they chose to live there, they are very passionate about it. Because when I visited USA in 2002 for the second time, one gentleman came to the green room. I was just warming up for the concert. He came to the green room and told me, Dr. Havaldar, today I am able to attend your concert and I learned from the organizers that you are leaving on October 15th and I am going to India tomorrow and I am coming back to USA on October 16th. That means I am going to miss the rest of your tour. Not that I would have gone to every concert, that apart. But this is my only chance to listen to you as of now. So I will request you to sing for 6 hours, he said. ठीक है, गाएंगे, उसमें क्या बड़ी बात है. So not that हमारा पैसा वसूल, ऐसा बात नहीं था उसका. His intention was to listen to more traditional music. You are a trained musician. बड़े-बड़े आप सीखे हैं. So he said, I would want you to sing as much as you can so that I will enjoy. This is part one. And when I went to Elmhurst College, Chicago, as a professor, as a visiting professor, there was one very elderly gentleman. He was a retired dentist. Dr. John is his name. He has visited India many times. He's aware of Indian culture and music, and he respects it a lot. So when he came to know that I was going to teach in that college for one full semester, he had a discussion with the college authorities, saying that he will not be forced to sing in the examination at the end of the semester, but he will be allowed to register for that semester and attend the classes because he wanted to know about it. So that was the arrangement between him and the university authorities. He was very happy. So he attended the course, the full semester. He would be the first student at the age of 75.
Oh.
Yeah. There are another 20 more students. He would be the first sitting in the bench, asking some very searching questions and getting the answer and being happy. So when the semester was over, they gave me a send-off party. So he gave a speech, Dr. John. Dr. John, yesterday in my dream, Jesus had come. He told me that, look, John, now a seat for you in heaven is booked because you have attended a course on Indian classical. Not because of Havalda. Forget about Havalda. He said, you have learned Indian classical music, a seat is booked for you in the heaven. So this is the kind of experiences we have. They really love it.
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful to talk to you and know about your musical journey. I would also like to know about your family members who are taking the legacy ahead as musicians.
Yeah. Yes, I would acknowledge my parents who inspired me to take to music to start with. My in-laws, Mr. Raghavendra Rao, who supported me a lot. And my mother-in-law, Prema Rao, she likes my music very much. And my wife, Sudhami, she is the pillar of our success because both my sons, Omkar and Kedar, are musicians. Omkar is 34 plus. He's singing for the last 29 years. And Kedar is 31. He's playing tabla for the last 25 years. So if there are 3 musicians in the family, all boys, it is like a gents hostel run by a wonderful lady ward.
Very true.
Yeah. You need an element of discipline and order and everything. And things were ready. She supported us a lot. My son Omkar Nath is a very promising vocalist. My younger son Kedar is a tabla artist, very promising tabla artist. Both of them have won state awards. Omkar has won national award. Omkar had gone to Afghanistan to teach Indian music. He has gone to China before this COVID exploded. So he had gone to China a few times. My nephew, my elder brother's son Samir, is a wonderful harmonium player. So they make a wonderful young team at the house. So we travel together, we discuss together. So it's all music around.
And I remember they have performed in Savai Gandharva Mahotsav in Pune also.
Yes, last year they performed there.
Last year, yes.
They performed there.
Yes.
So they have shown a lot of promise and people have blessed them with their love and affection.
Thank you so much for giving us so much time, and it was such an enriching experience for me also, and of course to viewers and listeners also. So I thank you so much.
I thank the Samanvaya fraternity, and I thank you, the host and the anchor, for asking me very, very searching and probing questions so that I could bring forth all my gurus and discuss about them and acknowledge them in front of those many people. Nothing is more joyful than acknowledging your gurus and tradition.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. And we wish you happy and healthy life. Thank you so much.
Anytime at your service. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you.